The title is correct. Don't be like me. There's some things I've done right, some things I've done wrong. In 13 years of doing this, it is a trial and error, and some things you're going to realize later on. Sometimes you'll realize in the moment, and it's gonna suck. But I'm gonna kind of cover the 5 things I think I've learned from my situation and kind of things I wish I told myself moving forward. This is kind of a talking head video. Not very much news is going on right now, and not often do I do stuff like this anymore. Kind of giving my life advice from a dude that's not that old, that's just been in the military his entire adult life. But I wish I had known this. My first thing that I wish I would have told myself very early in my career, and it would have taken a lot of pressure off of me, was the next best thing is not going to make you happy, and there are things on the peripheral that can be important, more fulfilling, or even better for you. You'll see in the military, they're like, cool, you're an E3, now be prepared to make E4, get this qualification, be able to do this, volunteer here, do this classwork, do this, and it can just feel like it's overwhelming and it takes over you. And sometimes I would try and say yes, 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 and then I am exhausted. I was drained. I didn't feel like myself anymore. And the next goal is here, here, here. Always like a carrot dangling in front of you. That's kind of human nature too, I have to say. But it's also at the same token going to be one of those things that I'm going to tell you. Don't let the military's carrot be the only carrot that's in front of you, as I think it's important, as you could have other carrots in the peripheral views here that might be more aligned with what you're wanting to do or be happy. And that is a tough thing to say, because in theory the military is like, well, in linear fashion, the ladder, quite literally in the Navy you call it a ladder, LADR, you should do this, and then you should do this, and then this, and then moving on. So promise you, you're not going to be happier just at the, if I make this rank or in this rank. It's happiness is not built around rank or really what's in your paycheck, and I know that because I've been an E1 and I'm now an E6 right now. My second off thing, which is kind of like what every old person says, but I look if I would have even done that little bit more of investing, right? And it's very scary for me because I have a lot of younger people now that have joined under the new blended retirement system, which goes in through a thrift savings plan, and you can have it invest in different stuff, kind of like a 401k. And a lot of junior people have no idea what their access is to that account, how much is in there, any of that stuff. It's kind of scary because that's your future, and some 18 to young 20-year-old really has no idea what is happening with this money. They're just like, I was told this is a good thing, I'm going to shut my eyes and I'm just going to throw money at it, and I have no idea what's going on. And that's kind of scary, because I'm like, I'm going to tell you that you really should know how much money is there, because I bet you know how much money is in your wallet, your checking account, your savings account. This should be no different. But it's one of those things that I wish I would have invested a little bit more earlier, not yellow betting on GameStop or AMC or whatever else. I mean, obviously, those are fancier as you build a solid foundation. You can definitely start doing that, but don't have that be your primary foundation. But yes, invest a little bit earlier. I know it's going to suck, hurt your soul. You can't buy the PS5 the day it comes out, but you can make some sacrifices. Number 3 here is something that I think we give credit to and don't give credit to. One of them is in the military, we see that we enter boot camp on this date or OCS. We should advance at this rate and this rate. And it's always this competition of who's going to be the next thing. And when I look at that, there are things that are in your sphere of control and things out of your control. And I think we've all probably had something in the military that are within our control and without our control. And a lot of the BS situations you're going to be in where you're like, I didn't get a better evaluation, or EPR or whatever branch you're in, it's going to piss you off because you're like, well, my friend Joe Schmo over there has that. And sometimes these things are just out of your control, because you could be compared against people for evaluations that have more time in service or more favorited or more whatever. Like, there are real factors there. Yes, they're not objective, like you can really tell that that's happening all the time, but it's possible. breathe, relax, realize what you can and can't do. Obviously, don't take your hands off the wheel, but control what you can't control. In this thing of life, I tell people there are detours, right? Or there are deviations in your path. Whenever you're going to the grocery store, you're not flying from your house straight to that grocery store, up, out, over, land, bam, you're right there. You stopped at a stop sign. You maybe had to get stuck in traffic. Maybe the light turned red, whatever it is. You don't think about that in daily life, but that is what happens in life in a macro perspective too, and you shouldn't let that get to you. My fourth one here is there are diminished returns. It's really on a perspective, right? How you want to look at it, you know, like those things that have two different images, like how you want to image this. Because I look at it as someone that's getting older, and you look at people that have been able to buy houses and build wealth in other ways where military can make that difficult to do so, but you have retirement. So like kind of evaluating what you would like to do in that circumstance. On top of that, family, I have to be honest with you, when I was younger, everyone was like, thank the service members for their service, and I was like, yeah, whatever, it's a paycheck, I do a job, that's okay, it's just what I signed up for. But in the same respect, I now look at that 13 years later and I'm like, my dad is old and gray, everyone's moved on, I haven't seen them in like how many years now, and do they know me? Do I know them? I've been appreciative of the money I've earned, the financial situation I'm in, plus living in Japan, plus being able to live in Spain, but where does that mix? It makes you really like a ball of mixed emotions, and where do you see that return being the best at is a very hard thing to weigh, as far as you don't get time back. Kind of focus on what return you want on your investment. Time with family, time in the military to change your family tree, whatever allows you to be happy to move forward. My last one here is do not lose yourself. No, this is not Eminem, lose yourself, mom spaghetti. I had a talk with a Master Chief a little over a year ago, and I won't disclose their name, but I will tell you they said, I wish I had a hobby like you do with YouTube. I wish I had something like that, because this is my passion. The Navy is my passion. And I'm like, I love that we have people that are like that. We really do need people in the military like that. But in the same respect, I'm like, we need to also not lose ourselves in service and weigh out what matters to you in regards to like having your sense of self. To me, YouTube, skateboarding, whatever else is in my sphere, video games, you know, whatever else. I look at that and I can only say I felt bad for that Master Chief, because that level of happiness he gets from this, I don't want him to not be happy eventually, because it does end, right? Do not lose yourself in the process of being in the military. There is a give and take to the military. There's a give and take to you. And there's times where you're going to have to kind of switch, because you can't do both at the same time. And that's such a hard balance. That is what I've learned after 13 years of serving. And I haven't really made a video like this in a long time, but I'd like to know, for anyone that's retired, anyone that's in now even a couple years, months or whatever, what is something you have realized after serving or throughout your service and kind of moving forward that you feel that you've learned about yourself, or that you would maybe relate with these things, or you would maybe add to this list in particular? Because I think it's important to kind of sometimes think of these things in the theory of the clouds, and not always just like in the dirt like this, mad, angry, moving forward, just trying to get the job done. Sometimes we gotta relax and breathe and focus on things like this. So please let me know down in the comments down below. If you guys have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.